Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging them moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging them moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. In the Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of...
Hey, good evening and welcome Fish on Northwest. Live here in studio, albeit a few minutes late, Barnum.
Right, we made it.
We made it. Like we were saying while we were waiting, hey, even airplanes don't get off the ground on time all the time, right?
Right.
We got about a 99% success rate, so we're doing okay.
One out of what, like 50 ain't bad.
Yeah, not too shabby. I want to invite everybody into the studio this evening. It's the first time you've tuned in because you saw some craziness out there. We're giving some Lamiglas SI rods away, and that's prompted you to check out what we got going on here. Well, you're in luck because we are actually giving away some fishing rods tonight, brought to us by the very one and only Tom Posey, owner of Lamiglas, who will be joining us later in studio. And of course, we also have Brett Rogers, who I'm very curious to pick his brain a little bit, running for Attorney General.
Yes.
And we're kind of, you know, we got to be careful, Barnum. We're kind of dipping our toe in the old political arena once again, and a few folks may call us out. But you know what? At the end of the day, if we're not following this stuff and the fact that it could infringe upon our Second Amendment rights, and we love to hunt and shoot guns, these are things we need to talk about. So those two gentlemen will join us in a little while.
Right, we went back and forth on that. We talked about not wanting to make the show too political, but then when it comes to Second Amendment rights, I'm going to get political.
You have to.
It just is.
You
That's
have
how it's
to.
going to work.
Yep, you have no choice. By the way, welcome back, sir.
Yeah.
You were kind of missed last week.
Yeah, I had the coronavirus.
I know you had the coronavirus. A case of
or the Bush Light virus.
Oh, it was Bush Light? A case of anything will do that to you. Yeah. Put you down for the count for a few days, but
I got the crud there a little bit. I'm still fighting a little bit of a cough, and so I have the mic here. I'll try not to blow your guys' ears out with the cough today.
You missed a good Sportsman show. We had a great time.
I missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Sherry put in a ton of work.
Dude, I was so tired.
Thank you.
I was reminded I was 53. It was like, oh, I'm getting my ass kicked here.
Right. That's a long week.
It was a long week. It was a great week. Thank you to everybody who came out, visited us at the booth, bought our swag, bought our beer pints and wine glasses, all that stuff that she has going on. Lots of really good positive support for our show. Credit to you as well. People are really digging what we're doing. It's nice to hear it. Yeah. And I asked folks quite candidly, hey, what else can we do? You know, how do we make it better? They're like, just keep doing what you're doing. So that's kind of what we're going to do. Good. Anyway, it was good, and we'll get into the fact we're heading down to Portland here this next week. Hey, I want to remind everybody, Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Pacific Commons, located in Puyallup, and of course, Defiance Marine, located out there in Bremerton. And I did make it up to the boat show yesterday. I saw that. Jumped around a handful of their boats, took some, quite a few pictures and video of the 21-foot Allied Mustang.
Feel your pocket get lighter?
Yeah. I actually took a nap in it just to see how it would feel. But
isn't it nice? I mean, it's so fun boat shopping.
Oh, really nice boats. Defiance is knocking it out of the park. And if you still got time, you got Friday, Saturday. It closes in the late afternoon there on February 1st. So still got time to get up to the boat show. Definitely stop by Defiance Marine. Check out everything they got going on. If you can't make it, check out the video that I posted up on our Facebook page. Gives you a good sense of what they have going on.
Do they have a lot of good deals at the show?
I don't know. I just went up there, took my time with Defiance, and I got out of there.
I mean, they have beautiful boats.
They got a ton of boats up there. But Yeah, so check that out if you're boat shopping. You need to go talk to our folks at the Feinstein. By the way, be looking here next couple weeks. The 2015 FHN Raider, the Pro Sport 182, will be on the market for sale. You want to buy a boat?
It's a nice boat. No, I have one.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But it's a really nice boat.
Don't need to?
Don't need to.
Okay.
Can you imagine that conversation with my wife?
Not good.
It's hard to keep her convinced that I need one.
Yeah, good point. Hey, I want to remind everybody, if you're joining us tonight, thank you very much for tuning in. We are live every Thursday right here out of studio with our 2-hour show live broadcast. And you can stream us via Facebook, or you can jump over to our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so you always are up to date on what we have going on. You get notified anytime we post a new video or a how-to or a cooking segment or whatever it is. It lives there on YouTube and our YouTube, Facebook channel as well. But please give us a subscribe on the YouTube and keep up with what we have going on. Now, with that, Barnum, there's a lot going on. Posted a handful of informational pieces out on our Facebook page this week that received quite a bit of traction.
Right.
It's NOF season, right? North of Falcon. And the negotiations begin to set salmon season for 2020 as we know it. And this process begins here in January. They will have the preseason forecast meeting, I believe is February, February 28th, I remember off the top of my head. And we got a host of meetings coming up that you're going to want to pay attention to. I put a post on the Facebook page with all the links. It takes you right to it. You can see all the meetings that are coming up over the next several months from February through April, North of Falcon process, and how you can get involved, how you can show up at the meetings, get your opinions and your voice heard.
Right.
Now, the rub there is a lot of folks are not too convinced that their voice is being listened to.
Right.
We've been following the Twin Harbors Fish and Wildlife Advocacy Group, who's got that lawsuit filed against WDFW and basically the litigation that they're laying out. And some of the information they're bringing out on that, I mean, we're talking, they've already were successful in getting Director Sussman, Ron Warren, and a few other staffers in court for lengthy depositions. Lots of questions being asked relevant to the North of Falcon process and fisheries management overall. And these folks are at the top of the chain, man. They're the ones in the know. Yep. They're the ones that direct staffers and themselves, they go in and attend these meetings and have these negotiations to set season. It's a lot of reading, but if you have an interest into understanding what has been going on for a number of years, it's pretty compelling information.
Right.
And that's the type of educational components that are out there now made publicly available that if you find yourselves, taking all that in, you're going to learn a lot. And it's conflicting. It's confusing. You and I would like to think that WDFW and staff has the best interest of the outdoors person, in mind. And I think for the most part they do. I just think in some of this litigation and some of these negotiations with co-managers, they're so handcuffed, they just really can't force the hand. We recall back in 2016 when Director Unsworth at the time was in the position, and they did not come to agreement on the NOF process. Then it got late into the season, well into April. Still no agreements were reached. They basically shut down all our fisheries.
Yep.
Anadromous fisheries were not on the table for recreational anglers, yet the tribes got to go fishing. That kind of told me there's a shift in power and a shift in policy
Kind of
here.
showed who was in charge.
So it was a little disheartening because it not only shut down anadromous fisheries, it shut down Lake Washington.
Right.
A couple other lakes up north that if you have anadromous fish going through those bodies of water, it was shut down to fishing.
Right.
And that lasted for quite a while until they could come back together, get the negotiations taken care of, get NOAA to approve the permitting process, which is all based on ESA impacts, and that they're fishing on the conservative side not to impact ESA-listed Chinook stocks. So going into this season, I don't know how I feel after reading a lot of this information. You have...
Probably tired.
Yeah, a little bit tired. There's a number of reasons for that.
I went through some of it today, and it's like, oh.
So, because not everybody takes time to read this stuff, you guys are going to bear with me for the next 5 minutes or so. I'm going to read through some of the bullet points off of these declarations. One from Miranda Wecker, who I had talked to quite a bit over the years when she was a member of the Fish and Wildlife Commission.
Right.
She served from 2005 to 2017. She was actually chairwoman of the commission, comprised of 9 folks, appointed by the governor. From 2009 to 2015, she sat as chair.
Right.
Okay, so she has the credentials to be, with her education, her degrees and whatnot. She did a great job.
Yeah.
She was an advocate for recreational fishing. Some of the interesting points in her declaration, the inherent contradiction lay in the practical reality that the negotiated package was not subject to but any minor change following approval of the NOF agreed fisheries. The essential policy decisions and conversation emphasis conservation, burden sharing, and harvest allocations were already embedded in the PFMC approved LOAF agreement and not subject to modification. The LOAF agreement is the list of agreed to fisheries. This is what WDFW and the tribes come together,
right,
and they lay it all out there on the table, and WDFW says, we want to go for this, and the tribes say, we want to go for this, and they find their way at some point to meet in the middle. Basically, once that LOAF agreement is laid out there, it is very hard to make any changes.
Right.
Because of the amount of meetings that take place, and it gets later into the process where they have to submit their LOAF agreement, and it's a big document as far as it covers all fisheries throughout the state of Washington. You're talking ocean, Puget Sound,
right,
all terminal fisheries. You have commercial harvest in certain bodies of water. You have then tribal, who is on the tail end of some of these because they only get terminal fisheries, even though we've conducted full-on fisheries out in the ocean. So it gets very conflicted, at times heated, right? Everybody's fighting over the last fish. Consistently was fostered by the perception and essential decisions were made behind closed doors without full explanation. It was confusing that the rulemaking process that followed the completion of North of Falcon, negotiations appeared to offer the public an opportunity to provide comment. Okay?
Right.
This is important. It appeared that the commission had a role in making final decisions regarding what rules govern fishing, and that those rules would be adopted in full view of public. The reality, however, was clear that fishery policy decisions have been decided through the NOF negotiation and the PFMC approval. She is basically stating it appeared on the surface that you had some say in the matter. You had an opportunity to weigh in. And all the while, it's like it also now is very apparent that those decisions were made, and that's kind of where they were.
There was no change being allowed. Right. Basically, the Wildlife Commission itself, which is the 9-member panel that's appointed by the governor, which is set up to have our best interest,
write policy and give direction, right, to WDFW,
are not even allowed to have input on North of Falcon.
Correct. So, my experience in observing NOF process led me to conclude that the highly complex fisheries management approach is unlikely to contribute to recovery of depleted runs or to maintaining healthy runs. The process is dominated by user groups competing for allocation of harvest.
Wow.
So we talk all the time that we structure models and we go about it from a conservative standpoint.
Right.
But in her perspective, it's basically we're structuring these things all about harvest rate, right? She goes on to say the decline in wild salmon steelhead runs lack a recovery of weak stocks has been long-standing and seemingly irreversible trend with very few exceptions. And then she goes on to talk about maximum sustainable yield, and I don't know if I may get into that.
Right.
It's pretty compelling to hear a commissioner say that. Now, I took that into, I read that multiple times to truly understand what Miranda was trying to say, and I'm like, man, this is confusing, conflicting because of the position she sat in.
Yeah.
You are the chair of the commission, the 9-panel commission appointed by the governor.
Right.
You report to the governor, you give direction to the director of WDFW, you provide policy and all those factors that weigh in. They make a lot of decisions relative to fishing and hunting in the state of Washington.
Right.
But yet when it comes down to devising seasons and fisheries, there doesn't seem to be a lot of say on the side of WDFW, right? From the top down.
Right, and commenting how it seems like everybody's just fighting over their allocation and not necessarily what conservation levels need to be met. I just want to make sure I get mine. Yeah. I mean, scary stuff.
That is backed up with a group that kind of keeps track of what's going on throughout the Puget Sound Management Plan. Very smart man. I take what he says about our fisheries and management to heart because he really knows what he's talking about. He basically wrote in his declaration, once an agreement is reached, the federal government through the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, which we simply call NOAA, conducts analysis of the fisheries plan by WDFW treaty tribes for the year for compliance with restrictions defined under ESA. As I mentioned earlier, these targeted fisheries have to be drafted that they don't impact ESA stocks, which are the constraining stocks, right? He basically also says in here, much like Miranda, the list of agreed to fisheries. Those fisheries, the LOAF, that is set forth are the basis for both the state of Washington and for NOAA. Once the LOAF is set, no substantive changes can occur without agreement between WDFW and the tribes without concurrence from NOAA. It gets very complex. Once that LOAF is agreed to, man, it's like rewriting the Bible to get it done.
Right, very hard.
You just can't, it's not an easy task, and it delays the process extensively. It says the forecasts are agreed to, regional staff and tribal counterparts, and ultimately transmitted to NOAA, serves as the basis for the season setting process. So the first thing they have to do is come to agreement on the preseason forecast.
Right.
I can't tell you how many years I've sat in preseason forecast meetings where I've heard managers and fish program managers say, these are the numbers we're submitting to our co-managers. This is where we're at, but we have yet to come to agreement on the numbers. Because if you want to have a high harvest rate, you're probably going to come in with a high ceiling.
Right.
And then you start that pecking order and negotiate it down.
Right.
If you think that the co-managers on either side of the table use the same exact methods for determining truly what the preseason forecast is, you're mistaken.
Right.
They have different approaches to doing this. It's scientific based, but it's like, which science is good science? Which science do you use? And how come we're not all using the same science in modern day so we can come to agreement early on in the process and truly co-manage? It's those types of conflictions, Barnum, that I have a hard time with because we've been doing this for so long.
Right.
And I hear good things about co-managers, negotiations, working together. You know, we're making great strides here. This fishery is rebounding because the tribes are doing good things, and all that's true.
Right. And all this information is starting to make more and more sense, and it all starts to kind of make sense when you have commissioners and you have WDFW scientists going, this isn't about conservation goals. This is about user groups trying to get theirs.
Opportunity and a harvest.
Right.
And can we harvest it down to max sustainable yield to where we allow just the perfect amount of fish to hit the gravel,
right,
which then everything that is produced off of that in returns is our harvestable rate, right?
Right.
If we need 8,000 fish in the gravel, we got 12,000 coming back, we got 4,000 fish we can harvest, and we get 2,000 per side.
Right.
In this watershed. And over here, it's this number, and over here, it's this number. But over here, we're going to give you guys a little more on this side because we want to take a little more over here. Right. There's all this negotiation that goes on. Fisheries are modeled. You know, again, oceans are basically recreational. The charter boats have a huge say with lobbyists and everybody that really weigh in on ocean. Our ocean fisheries typically go as planned.
For the most part.
For the most part.
Right.
And when that season is set, they conduct those fisheries on a full-on assault for the date it starts to the date it ends, unless we hit an early quota, which can be we either have a whole bunch of fish early or we have a really robust return, and we're going to hit the quota early. And as Coho this last season, ocean fisheries were conducted full-on. All 4 ocean areas went full-on, did as prescribed based on the agreements. Right. And then after the ocean fisheries were concluding and those cohos started hitting the estuary waters, we went, wait a minute, where's all the fish, right? So in that regard, in some of these negotiations, the tribes have a point. They're like, you guys are out front knocking them, and then we have to wait and see what hopefully shows up. I get that. That's a difficult conversation to have, okay? Right.
But it seems like what you're saying is we're fighting over, we need 8,000 fish to reach the gravel. We have 12,000 coming. Let's make sure we take the 4,000 that we have coming instead of, maybe we should only take 2,500 to make sure we leave a little buffer. Yeah. And that's what we've been doing as of late, and that's why we're not meeting escapement all up and down the coast.
We typically will fish it under escapement in some cases because of that. There are cases, though, in the last several years where they do in-season adjustments and have been more aggressive with that.
Right.
Of which, when we're all great with that, but as soon as they want to shut it down because they have concerns, we all get pissed off. I get it. In-season management is both a blessing and a curse. But I think it's necessary with the way they structure fisheries today, because you can't just leave them unchecked and let it be wide open for the full season, because we would have a lot of closures right now, more so than we already do. Right. According to Pat, the problem with this public process is primarily a result of WDFW spending most of the time in these meetings in negotiations with the tribes that are closed to public. The public is not allowed in these meetings, I found this pretty interesting. The public is not allowed in these meetings. No recordings are made. No transcripts or record is created.
Really?
And very few notes are made or shared. So they have these closed door meetings and they talk about, constructing these fisheries, and yet there's very little effort put into truly getting it down on paper or creating records or documents. Right. Why?
That is an odd one.
Well, when you have records like that, it's open to, public has access to those records, right? Public records requests. So I'm not sure the nuts and bolts on that deal, but when I read that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Right. Not only are they having some of these meetings, I'm not saying all meetings, but according to Pat, on some of these meetings, there's very little documentation kept or recorded. Right. WDFW invites the public to provide comments or proposals for Puget Sound salmon fishing seasons, and at those public meetings that are conducted throughout Puget Sound and the region. So these are those North of Falcon processes. We got a bunch of them listed here. Coming up, Montesano, Willapa, Puget Sound Advisory, and even up further north, right? You have the opportunity to come and talk. They give you the season forecast. They tell you what they're modeling. They're letting you know if we have an abundance of hatchery fish or wild fish, where they draw the line. Can we exercise a full-on assault on Willapa, or is there no wild fish coming back? It's pretty dicey, but they give you all that information, and yet they're having these meetings with the tribes at times, and there's no record of it. Right, no and you're kind of, I always wanted to believe that, things that we're giving them, and we have a lot of friends at WDFW, and they tell me, look, in the best interest of public attending those meetings and submitting information, we do take that to heart, and that truly is what we take into these meetings as the high guard. In high regard is our negotiating chip. We start high, hoping to come in somewhere in the middle. Right. And a lot of these fisheries from recreational folks, we start high, okay? And I'm like, okay, I get that, but when I read these depositions or declarations from folks who have been there, I can't believe all of that all the time. Right. Because it seems like there's not a lot of say or willingness to even submit. 2019, through all the public meetings held in Puget Sound, you guys pay attention to this one because this is kind of interesting. Held in Puget Sound region, accessible for most concerned citizens. WDFW did not present, propose, analyze, or discuss any specific Puget Sound fisheries proposals for public review or comment. WDFW explained for this lack of specific proposal was that the tribes were not willing to jointly agree on specific fishery proposals for joint technical analysis and policy consideration. With WDFW unwilling to develop such a proposal for the public's view and consideration, this lack of agreement between the two management authorities through the entire period of North of Falcon process through April 3rd, the last day of public meetings, effectively froze the public involvement in the process. Again, this is coming from Pat Pattillo, 35 years WDFW and fisheries scientist, negotiator for WDFW in the NOF process. Now spends his retirement days as part of the Puget Sound group that is, trying to submit information for directing these fisheries, and he's basically saying right there, they had no input. There was none taken, and WDFW wouldn't propose any of it to the tribes because tribes were like, we're not going to listen to it. Right. There is 2019 was conflicting because there's two recognized strains of fish, Chinook stock, Stillaguamish and Mid-Hood Canal. Stillaguamish is really a point of contention. The Stillaguamish tribe hasn't conducted targeted gillnet commercial fisheries. It's a constraining stock that travels through up around Area 7 and stays up north. That's why the last season we were closed Area 7, San Juan Islands, Friday Harbor, the whole deal, closed for the whole month of August. You have any idea what type of economic impact that had to the economy up there?
Right.
Also closed up until February 1st. Now it will open for blackmouth. Typically opens January 1 or 15th. Okay, so we've had 2 to 4 weeks of no opportunity, right. Area 7. This is all based on the tribe's hard line they've drawn protecting the Stillaguamish stock. Even though it was proven in scientific data, and WDFW made it a point to say that if it is closed based on those months to protect the Stillaguamish stock of fish and try to get more of those wild fish back, they essentially were going to, they estimated, WDFW estimated an increase to the Stillaguamish wild Chinook on the spawning grounds by approximately 3 fish.
Well,
3 fish, Barnum. The economic impact for the month of August,
right.
The lack of opportunity to fish, and the Stillaguamish gravel was going to get seeded by 3 more fish.
Wow.
They advocated to have it at least open for coho and pink salmon in Area 7 because we had a pink year last year, right? By that would have an impact on conservation with the Stillaguamish wild Chinook calculated to be less than 1 fish. So if they would have opened it for pink and coho, the impacts would have been 1 or less.
Wow.
And yet they didn't open it. So it's like WDFW goes in there and fights for it, but then ultimately, even though it was against recommendations from all the recreational groups advocating for a fishery, WDFW at the last hour just said they proposed to the tribes that we close it. So it was WDFW that stepped forward and said we're going to close it for the month of August. That was their call. That did not sit well with a lot of folks. So we're talking about the fact that North of Falcon is starting now, right?
Yep.
Preseason forecast meetings. The statewide season forecast meeting will be here in Olympia on the 28th. The 27th we'll be doing a show, February, but they have the preseason forecast in Montesano for Willapa Grays Harbor.
Yep, saw that.
So those meetings are starting, and it's an educational process that folks should attend.
Right.
And if you feel like taking the time to read some of these declarations and depositions that are being produced out there by various groups, and they're factual, these are court documents I'm reading
Absolutely.
off of. It kind of leans towards frustration and concern. And you know what? If you sit home pissed off, it does no good. If you go to WDFW meetings, be respectful, but voice your frustration and concern.
Yeah.
At least they're getting a sense of recreational community is not happy with the representation at these meetings, nor are we going to sit idle and allow them to continue to be closed door. And we have advocacy groups that are working hard to make sure that the rules of engagement change.
Right.
And we'll just have to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But again, we're shedding light on this to simply say the process is going to continue. If we sit back and nothing's said, no change will happen.
Ever.
If you help and get educated, and our goal is to help educate persons in Washington State relative to fisheries, fisheries recovery, save the orca, save the salmon, all that goes into it. And then you also realize at times it would appear that even WDFW staff at the highest level is somewhat handcuffed and even making, progress on this stuff. It gets very frustrating. So, okay, enough on that. There's discussions happening as of late the last few weeks out here in the Chehalis Basin as it pertains to steelhead. Steelhead has been on our topic agenda for weeks on end, Barnum, due to the low numbers. We still got all the rivers up north that are closed down based on hatchery, lack thereof of hatchery performance, and there's concern for wild fish. Now, when you start talking about conservation, we're talking about wild fish. Conservation measures don't account for anything when it comes to hatchery.
Right.
Hatchery is subsidizing our ability to have opportunity and harvest, right?
Any type of fishery.
Any type of fishery.
Right.
When we talk conservation, we're talking wild fish. Recovering some of these stocks of fish and what it takes. Lengthy conversation with one of the fish program managers out of Region 6 here last night on the phone, as in 11 p.m. to almost midnight by the time we get done with the day and wrapping up. But very insightful. Chehalis has not met escapement on wild steelhead in the last 3 seasons. From a manager's perspective, how do you construct a opportunity or an opportunity for recreational, when you know going into it, you need 8,200 fish or 8,400 fish to hit the gravel, and your numbers show you're going to be in and around 6,400
Yep.
for the third year in a row.
Right.
Do you close the river? If we do, we look just like everybody up north.
Right.
When's the last time people fished for steelhead in the Puyallup, in the Squally River? All Puget Sound is done.
Right.
We're not fishing for steelhead. We talked about this years ago with all those northern rivers and South Puget Sound rivers being shut down for steelhead harvest. The masses have shifted to the coast.
Yep.
Intercoast here around Grays Harbor, and then full on out to Forks. The amount of folks targeting those rivers, we're seeing drastic cutbacks in hatchery steelhead production based on the declining ability to increase our wild fish populations.
Right.
So as the ceiling lowers on wild fish, the ceiling lowers on the amount of fish we can put in up against, more so on Chinook and whatnot in your ESA,
Right.
but we have steelhead that are compromised as well. So how do you build fisheries and allow persons to fish because if we're fishing, they're fishing? The mentality of co-managers and WDFW is if the tribes are going to fish, well, then we're going to fish. And if we're going to fish, the tribes are, well, then we're going to fish.
Right.
Once one side or the other raises the conservation flag, then they have discussions, mid-season management. Mm-hmm. So those discussions may or may not be happening now relative to the Chehalis.
Right.
Because of early season poor performance. We're right now on the cusp of a decent amount of wild fish should start showing up. So do we keep the nets in the river? If the co-managers say, hey, we're thinking based on lack of performance and concern over the last 3 years of pulling nets, what do you think WDFW is compelled to do? Possibly shut it down.
Yeah.
Not saying they are. Or, is it February 1st? Is it the 15th? Typically we fish to the end of March, right?
Yep.
Is it the end of February? Do we get one more month? I think it's more than likely that an earlier than later closure would be on the table for discussion. Not saying it is, but based on numbers, based on concerns, and if the tribes are going to, move the needle a little bit and say, hey, we're not going to fish, WDFW can't say, well, we're not going to we are going to fish.
We are going to fish, right.
I brought up the discussion of they like to use the phrase, agreed to fisheries. Mm-hmm. They like to use the phrase maximum sustained yield. They have discussions to talk about harvest rates. I said, how about if we have an agreed to impact conversation? In other words, I have 6,500 fish coming back to the Chehalis Basin. Now, I shared a few weeks ago, based on scientific data, that if you have 7,000 wild fish coming back to a given basin, and we conduct a full-on fishery throughout that season with a mixture of hatchery and wild fish, we're catching hatchery fish, we're catching and releasing wild fish. Our impact to those 7,000 fish are between 250 and 300 encounters.
Right.
Hook and line, successful landings, and release. 10% mortality rate associated with that. We're going to kill 25 to 30 fish.
Right.
If we're 2,000 fish under escapement needs, is the department willing to allow for us at our hand the demise of 25 fish? In some regards, with fisheries managers and biologists, they say 25 might as well be zero. When you're talking 6,000 plus fish.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I look at that as agreed to impact. We're going to conduct our recreational opportunity from this starting point to this starting point. Our agreement, based on scientific data and years of documenting this, we recognize we're going to end up killing 30 fish.
Right.
You guys use a different method, as in gill net. Your encounter rate is substantially higher in a shorter duration of time. So when you kill your 30 fish, you're off the water.
Right.
This is what I was like, how about an agreed to impact?
Right.
Okay, we have a conservation concern. We have a huge economic impact by closing an entire fishery for recreational opportunity. If it remains open and we can all swallow a pill and sleep good at night knowing, okay, we are the demise of 30 fish out of 6,000,
right.
But we conducted a fishery, the economy, is a winner out of this thing. Yep. Mom and pop shops, gas stations, food marts, hotels, turnaround fees for drift boaters, gear, rod manufacturers. I know Tom Posey's listening to me. So But everybody wins because we've agreed to impact, and we recognize we can go for 2 or 3, 4 months, and this is our impact.
Right.
And if co-managers would go, well, we're fishing for conservation,
Yep.
not for maximum harvest.
Right.
We're going to continue to use our method of gill net because we choose not to go selective harvest. Now, if you want to talk selective harvest, you're going to lengthen your season. Do you get more impact? I'm not so sure.
Right.
But the point is...
Right, if you can come up with fisheries that have less impact, so your mortality rate goes down, then you're going to fish longer.
Because you're grabbing all the hatchery fish, or the few that come
Whether
through.
It's a fish wheel or whatever.
And we're releasing the wild fish, so you have a longer season. And until they start modeling these things to be what I refer to as an agreed to impact versus a harvest rate, you know, they want to continue to go down the road of non-selective harvest, then your impact is, as is ours, agreed to 50-50, 30 fish, 50 fish, I don't care what it is. Whatever the preseason forecast model allows you to make that number. Our impact is this, your impact is this. You guys are done in a week and a half. We're done in 3 months. Right. Just a thought. Right. Anyway.
I like it.
There will be more discussions on that. Not sure if it's going to go anywhere. We do know that we're probably looking at a conservation effort. We may see some early closures on some of the rivers, not specifically which ones, and I can't tell you exactly what's going on out there at the coast. Right. So, okay, we're going to get moving along with some other stuff. Looks like quite a few comments coming in here, Barnum, so I like it.
Yeah, a lot.
We are going to give away a couple Lamiglas SI fishing rods. We got some Lamiglas hats, got t-shirt, hoodie. Things are going to be happening. You need to pay attention throughout the show. Stay tuned in. Get your friends to sign on here. You need to text in the messages, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, I want to win.
And a lot of people are doing that.
Oh, yeah. You have to have put in there, I want to win. That puts you qualified for the win. It's going to be a random draw. We will go to commercial breaks, do the random draw. When we come back, we'll announce the winner. First, we're giving away a couple hats, t-shirt, and hoodie. And as we get later in the show, we'll be giving away those 2 rods brought to us by Mr. Tom Posey himself. Right. So make sure you text in, I want to win. Invite your friends, improve your chances. Winners will be selected at commercial breaks. We'll announce them when we come back. Am I forgetting anything?
I think so.
We have blackmouth openers coming up on February 1st, Saturday, Area 7, Area 9.
Right. Clam digs opening up February 6th through the 12th. Hunter reports are due by tomorrow at midnight.
Yeah, end of January.
Important. Yeah, don't get your $10 fine.
Yes, because you will.
And then we have public comment will be open the 6th to the 26th on the 2021 hunting seasons.
Oh, for input.
Yes.
More input.
More input.
Yeah.
Whether you think it works or not, you should really give your input on hunting seasons if you have something to say.
And as a reminder, we are going to be down at the Portland Sportsman Show. Yep. Yeah, rumor has it you're coming along.
I'm even going.
How about that? Barnum's going to be there in the booth and on our Thursday night show. Josh is going to be there. Chef Kelly's going to pop into town for a couple days, hang out with us in the booth, talk about recipes and everything else. So
the full crew.
The full crew.
Wow. Yeah,
it's going to be a good show. We'll be down in Portland the entire week. We'll have our booth set up, and we're also doing our show there live Thursday night. Guess what? We're going to have some more Lamiglas rods to give away.
Right.
We're going to have more swag to give away. Going to have a lot of stuff to give away. WFO worms, all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you make it a plan to come on down to Portland between February 5th and 9th. We'll do our show the evening of the 6th, regular time, 7 to 9 p.m. And hope to see a lot of folks down there come and enjoy the festivities. Okay, we'll give a reminder of that at the end of the show. Going to jump out for a quick commercial break. We are running a little behind because we started late, but that's okay. We come back. Tom Posey, owner of Lamiglas, has graced us with his presence here in studio tonight. You got some questions about Lamiglas? Go ahead and fire them off. We're going to simply talk to Tom about what's cranking at Lamiglas and what's going on with the downturn of some of our fisheries and how, as a rod manufacturer in the state of Washington, the Northwest, you continue to survive and do so well. Okay, we'll do all that. We come back right after this break right here on FHN.
Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help. and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
At metal supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, metal supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a metal supermarket store near you today.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a good job.
Thank you.
I've
working hard.
Yeah, since you took over the company, I think I've known you about that long.
Yeah.
After we started kind of
Yep.
meeting and greeting and hanging, and back when I was doing radio up north, you visited us up there.
That's right. Yep.
So, lots of questions firing off here, a lot of technical stuff, and as we were talking at the break, Tom doesn't actually work in the factory building rods. He is like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention, right? Just let him do his thing because he's doing a great job. But you guys, you got a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yep.
Have diversified in your lineup over the years, to say the least. What would you say, people always like American-made, import, where are you at percentage-wise? What are you guys still importing? What are you making here in the States?
Well, about 50% of our rods are made here. All the high-end rods are U.S.-made.
Yeah.
And then our price point series that helps people get into the lineup.
Right.
Usually $150 or below, something like that. It works out, and the technology. Every rod's developed in the U.S. All of the prototypes are done and tested here.
Sure.
And then the factory we have in China, we've had for over 15 years, and they do a great job. So it's been good.
Yeah. Well, you guys are busy. I mean, there are, as you would know, and I'm familiar with, has been associated with other rod companies in the past, but rod companies in the Northwest, specifically Washington and the Woodland area, kind of come and go.
Yeah.
Right? It's a tough racket to put your hooks in and stay around for a while.
Yeah.
Lamiglas has found a way since your dad took over the company in 1965.
Correct.
And ran it until 2015.
2015, January 2015, at the age of 87.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great run.
So now the diversity in what you guys offer on the market. Think about all the fisheries, not just here in Washington State, but throughout the nation.
Yes.
I mean, you can't just put your hooks into salmon and steelhead and think we're going to make it nowadays, right?
Right. Well, it's a global brand. We're really strong in the U.S., particularly in the salmon and steelhead market. So we follow the salmon and steelhead from Northern California up through Washington, down through the Great Lakes, and up to New York in the Salmon River. And you know, there's new trends going on. Actually, they've been around for a long time. As center pinning is big in the Great Lakes, and so we've gotten heavily involved out there. We've got a strong presence out there. So we're going where the fish are, and we're supporting, you know, the areas like the Northwest the best we can to get through the challenges that we have. But we're finding that you know, there's common challenges in all the markets that service salmon and steelhead as there are in other fisheries.
Right.
So it's all together, and of course Alaska's another big area for us in Columbia.
Do you see center pinning slowly gaining a little more popularity here in the Northwest?
Yeah, 100%. We've got Roger Hinchcliffe coming out from the Great Lakes, who works with us, you know, on the management team and as one of our team members. And he's going to be giving a bunch of seminars down there in Portland. So I encourage everyone to come out and listen. He's one of the foremost.
He's fantastic. Writes a ton of articles. One of the heads on Steelhead Manifesto. Always forthcoming with information. Just a really good human being.
Yeah, we developed the closer together.
Oh yeah.
A new center pin rod. The high end, our #1 high end rod. It's the #1 float rod in the U.S.
Oh wow.
U.S. made, and a great story there when we got together 3 years ago and developed that rod. Coming up with the name was a lot of fun, but anyway. It's a great story.
Trying to get him on our Thursday show.
Yeah, he's flying in on Thursday.
Yeah, he is. He was going to check what time he gets in, and because our show is 7 to 9 p.m., so he maybe, I mean, would love. We talked about last year when we were down there, even before we started the show. Hey, next year we hope to be down here doing the show. And it's a year later. I'm like, Roger, we got to have you on the show. He's like, I got to check what time I'm getting in. So, but really wanted him to come on the show with me and Barnum and actually talk center pinning and the evolution of it and how it's kind of, you know, grabbing hold here in the Northwest. So looking forward to that. Hey, I got a question here, Tom. What Lamiglas, most budget-friendly yet quality rod? Always considered one, but want to make sure what I use is affordable for my subscribers. We got a guy that he's on Northwest Fishing Secret, so he's got quite a following. So he's looking for that everyday kind of average rod that guys can, you know, get out and use.
Salmon and steelhead?
Yeah.
X11 series is awesome. We changed the color, we changed the guides, and lots of good things are happening there. And we didn't change the price.
150 or less?
It's 99.
Yeah.
Is MSRP or MAP pricing, and you'll find them at, you know, Fisherman's or Sportco, Outdoor Emporium, you know, Fishfield, and some of the other fellows for a little better price in store. But online, they're going to be around $99 to $109 with the graphite handle. Yep, they're great.
Anything, Barnum?
No, I just wonder on the X11, did you guys change the reel seat at all? I had a little trouble with the top.
did, and you know, we buy a lot of reels now because the reel seats need to fit the reels for the fishery. So you'll find we bring in a lot of reels to test, especially on the new ones and on the old ones. And in fact, your son Jordan, we spent a lot of time with him on the new XCCs to make sure that was going to work.
Correct.
You know, we spend time with people on the ground.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To make sure and we try to cover, we think we cover 90% of the reel seats. We think we do.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of issues of.
We've literally got a closet that I brought in, and it's an armoire with reels on every drawer. And if there's something new that came out, we buy it, we bring it in, and make sure
fit the reel seat. Yeah.
Good. One of the other keep-up things I wanted to mention is the walleye series and the panfish series. But walleye out there, we've got the Hammer, we've got the Assassin, and we've got the Closer that's a U.S.-made high-end rod. So you'll always find a high-end USA-made rod in that series. But, you know, as far as, you know, diversifying and trying to keep the fishing going for Lamiglas, you know, we're kind of moving in those areas as well. So that's been a positive for us.
What I like about that, and that reminded me also, so you named, 3 rods or different series in your walleye series, depending on how much you want to spend.
Yep.
I remember, I know we're going to talk about plug fishing for steelhead later.
Right.
I didn't have you bring any Lamiglas plug rods tonight, but I'd done that before with 3 different, all fantastic rods based on 3 different price points. So what a guy really wants to spend, right?
Yep.
And that old classic glass was one of my favorites, and it was one of the most economical rods, and we would do sales out of Sportco for $79 or something ridiculous. Fantastic plug rod, right?
Yep.
And so it's not always the highest end rod that you have to pay a bunch of money for to get a very, a lot of satisfaction out of one of your products.
We work really hard on every rod series, and there's a benefit to every price point.
Right.
And so we want to make sure there's value in every rod you buy, and we kind of, frankly, err on the quality side of everything.
Right.
We really do.
Is there any fishery you guys aren't really covering? I mean, you guys have Blue Water Series, right, for tuna, and you got the Northeast or the Upper East Coast of different types of surf fishing, right? You got surf fishing rods.
In the Northeast for our surf rods, especially inshore. We're developing some rods now in Florida for inshore and also offshore series that's coming out. It'll be released at ICAST this year. It's pretty exciting. They're out being tested right now, so it'll be about 6 months of testing, and then we'll be releasing at ICAST in July. So that's our next phase. So
has the downturn of the salmon and steelhead fishery in the Northwest given you guys more of a chance to focus on developing other fishery and rod lines for those fisheries?
I think it has. I mean, I suppose if we had a great fishery here, we'd be selling a heck of a lot more rods, and maybe we wouldn't be doing some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it.
Well, it's not to make it just simplistic, but Barnum and I recognize the downturn of our salmon and steelhead, and we are strong advocates that, hey, we need to diversify in our fisheries.
That's true.
And so we're trying to advocate to folks that have that 18 to 21, 24 foot boat. If it's trailerable, you're missing out on opportunity on the east side of the state. Walleye fishing, big kokanee, big triploids. We're going to do it this summer again, multiple trips over there. And you may not get to go as often, but you plan a couple-day trip, get the hotel lined up, spend the gas, get the family out in nice weather. Doesn't rain on the east side. And, go take advantage of some of those fisheries that have been there for a long time.
And sometimes the fisheries, I think, are more relaxing and funner when you go do them, and it's not something you're doing in your backyard
all the
time. You can just go focus on it.
Yeah.
Leave work, leave the problems behind, and go fish for 2-3 days.
You got the boat, the electronics, the downriggers. You downsize with your gear, rod selection, like through Lamiglas. You have so many options. You pick up those other types of troll fisheries, walleye, troll fishery, kokanee, troll fishery, right? Absolutely. You got that 9-footer coming out.
That's right.
That Aaron keeps talking about.
9-footer, and it's a beautiful rod. It'll be added to the Red Line series, and
can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be here soon. It's all tested and approved. So.
Perfect. Right on.
Yep.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. You're showing that long-standing staple in the Northwest is here to stay, and you guys continue to forge ahead.
We're
pretty
on
happy.
the 71st year. Wonderful people down there at Lamiglas are all incredible. The employees that work there are just unbelievable.
Yeah, you got a good group. Warranty. We're not going to get out here without talking warranty.
Yeah, let's do that.
What do you got? What's your warranty?
Well,
depends on the rod, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're on our blup, blup, blup. I'm starting to stutter here a little bit.
Sound like me.
But the price point rods are 1 year on the X11s. On the Red Lines, they're limited lifetime. And what we've done is we came out with our new, well, it's not new, it's our fast track program, where it's kind of a no questions asked. And basically, you can replace an X11 for $35. It doesn't have to be approved. You can just bring it in to Outdoor Emporium or Sportco or Bob's or Fisherman's or Fishfield or wherever.
Over-the-counter exchange?
What's that?
Over-the-counter exchange?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they're going to ship it back to factory?
No, you can just go in. You broke your rod. You can go in and do a fast track and replace that rod for $35.
Yep.
If it's a defect within that first year, then we'll try to do the best we can to fix it or give you a tip or whatever it takes. So You know, we're pretty happy. We do, you know, quite a few claims a month, but for the most part, we're pretty happy. I think we're up to 4.8 stars or something out of 5. So we're working hard.
Yeah.
We're satisfying a lot of folks. I think the Fast Track has helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's that customer service that
Yes.
once people get a hold of that and realize you are there to take care of the customer, they're going to be a lifer, right? That's what you want.
That is. 100%.
Perfect. Okay. Tons of questions on here. Okay, at the break, we're going to give away our first item here. Actually, I'm going to double up here. We're going to give away a hat and a T-shirt.
Cool.
Lamiglas hat and T-shirt, the classic logo there. Getting a dry throat, Barnum.
Sorry.
Everybody that has lined in here, I want to win, you are automatically qualified, and we will run our little computer model here, pick a random winner, and we will announce that when we come back after this commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to introduce Brett Rogers running for Attorney General. If you haven't been paying attention, we are about to get inundated with a whole bunch of attacks on our Second Amendment rights. And if you're an avid hunter or even a hobbyist shooter and or gun collector, your rights are being infringed upon. It's going to make it difficult if all this stuff goes through simply to buy even ammunition. And we can't allow that, so you need to listen to this gentleman. He's got a good plan of what the future holds for Washington State if we continue to go down the same road, or we have the opportunity to change that come this next November. So Brett Rogers running for Attorney General, and we'll announce the winner of this first giveaway. We come back right here on FHN. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
It's the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show, presented by Leupold, February 5th through 9th in Portland. Over 900 exhibits of fishing and hunting gear, archery, wildlife art, lodges, resorts, guides, and outfitters. Free fishing for kids at the Baxter Auto Parts Trout Pond. Enter your trophy in the Head and Horns competition. See Brett Stoffel's Outdoor Survival Clinic, presented by your local Toyota dealers. And join us for Meat Eater Sunday with Steve Ranella and the cast from the hit Netflix show. For everything outdoors, start here to get there. The Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland.
About the start of the show. Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. We are back here in studio, Dwayne England, Kelly Barnum, Tom Posey, as you were just introduced to, and had a great discussion. And now, Mr. Brett Rogers, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah, glad to be here.
You been on many shows?
Not TV yet, or streaming internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Want to thank you for taking the time. You are running for Attorney General.
Yes, I am.
As an independent.
Yep.
In the state of Washington, and definitely going to be an uphill battle, but I think you have a good grasp on what's going on and what needs to happen for change around here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Little history about yourself. You were formerly a Seattle PD.
Yes, so I worked for Seattle PD as a police officer for 18 years. During that time, I worked my way up through the ranks. I left as a lieutenant in 2014. Did the bulk of my career in patrol, so I've got a lot of street experience.
Right.
Also, during part of that time, I conducted internal investigations for 4 years, so I have a passion for accountability at all levels.
You were pretty much, your heyday with Seattle PD was during all the turmoil, the racial tensions, the Seattle PD being accused of a lot of excessive force, and also were privy to, as city council and mayor and whatnot, or however they did it through the action of law, pulled back your guys' ability to actually police on the streets with limiting your involvement with folks.
Yeah, towards the tail end of my time with Seattle PD, I was actually in the audit and policy section during the time that the settlement agreement was being agreed to with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Yeah, yeah, interesting times for sure.
Absolutely.
You also have your law degree.
I do.
Yeah, how'd you acquire that, or what'd you do?
So I went to law school part-time while I was working full-time with SPD. During that time, it took me 3.5 years. I worked all 3 shifts. Mm-hmm. Was quite a commitment, but I think that is a testament that I'm not afraid of hard work and putting in long hours.
Right. So basically you understand both sides of it as I look at it, enforcement and prosecution.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's other folks, I think you mentioned back in 2016, there was no opposition to Sideshow Bob. Nobody actually wanted to take it. That's what I call him, but I mean, Bob Ferguson. So
do I,
Yeah.
Well, we've seen that all across the country. That's one of the things that happened in Virginia. We had dozens and dozens of seats in Virginia that went unopposed by Republican or independent candidates.
Yep.
Where the Democrats just went, I win re-election because nobody wants to run against me.
Sure.
And then they start force-feeding this stuff down our throat, and we go, what's going on? Why?
Right.
Well, people have to step up, and that's why we're excited to have him on the show tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually why I decided to run. It's a fishing and hunting show, so I don't want to put people to sleep. But in a nutshell, I grew tired of law-abiding people being treated as second-class citizens. Looking around, no Republican ran in 2016, so Bob was essentially unopposed. There was a Libertarian candidate that jumped in very late. I kept waiting for the opposition, the pushback to come. It was not coming, so I decided if nobody else was going to do it, I was going to step up and take a shot at it.
So as of late, we saw quite a bit of news coverage referencing Virginia here, a week and a half ago, and everything that was going on there. Some of the Second Amendment changes they're trying to force at hand, and our current regime is no different with Inslee and Ferguson. First of all, when I look down this list of new bills, Senate bills that and House bills that they want to introduce, banning all these different components of guns, or guns, and different types of, thumb hole stocks, capacities. I got a whole list here. I'm just kind of looking on through, but it's overwhelming the number of House bill and Senate bills. They have different numbers, but it's basically the same language that they're just trying to shove it. They're trying to get it in any way they can.
Right.
And the scary thing is, a lot of these have some serious traction to them. First of all, is Ferguson a little out of his lane of role of responsibility when he's like carrying the flag front and foremost to say, hey, this is the direction we're going, this is what we're going to do?
Yeah, it is within the Attorney General's purview to suggest legislation, but to really jump out in front and lead the charge and try to push some of this stuff through, especially when you're curtailing people's rights, not protecting rights, I find that offensive.
Right.
And just to quick throw this out there, almost all these laws have been enacted in other states. The idea, the alleged idea behind this was to help reduce mass shootings and things like that. Almost all these laws are in effect in the state of New Jersey has some of the most strictest laws in the country. And just a few weeks ago, there was that mass shooting at the kosher market.
Right.
So wherever you go, wherever these laws have already been implemented, they have been proven not to work.
Well, and that's been across the board. We just saw the shootings in Seattle here last week. I mean, those are guys that have been in and out of the justice system all their lives. I think they had warrants at the time. I mean, they're saying they're wanting to stop gun violence, but these laws do nothing but hamper the honest citizen, the responsible citizen, from obtaining ammunition and firearms, and doesn't stop the criminal at all, because the criminal is going to get his gun no matter how he has it. He doesn't care about background checks.
He's a criminal.
Right, he's a criminal.
Laws don't matter. You can put, even Lauren said it when he was here on our show, you can have all the laws in the books that handcuff or restrict the good citizen, the hard-working middle class, raising his or her family, just wanting to go out and recreate, hunting, raise your kids hunting, and they want to make the laws so doggone complicated and strict on us that it costs you a ton more money to even own the weapons. Have ammunition in possession. Transferring guns just goes away. You can't even do it. Won't be able to gift guns down through your family anymore. They want to register all these guns at some point. That's their ultimate goal. And none of it serves any purpose that will have any impact on the criminals.
None of it's going to stop a bad guy from getting a gun. And the fact of the matter is, we all know the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
And
they're making that harder and harder.
The irony is there's actually more persons killed throughout the United States annually with blunt force trauma or blunt instruments than there are with firearms. And knives and blunt instruments, There's more people dying at the hand of others who don't have guns than actually what the guns are impacting in that regard. So as avid hunters and hobbyist range shooters and gun collectors, you need to get a hold of your senators and representatives and say enough's enough. Do not support these bills, or we're not supporting you, because this is absolutely out of control.
The legislature is in session right now, so now is the time to contact
So let's start with the 10 round, no magazines above 10 rounds. How likely do you think that is to pass through?
It's really hard to say. I mean, the Democrats have the votes. I've heard tell that there's 4 senators that in kind of purplish counties or areas of the state that are on the fence and are concerned. So now is the time. It's easier to stop this now than have to try and go back and repeal it.
Because if it goes through now, our only hope of repeal is to basically flip the House, flip the Senate, flip the governorship. So
put it all the way back through.
To start over and go all the way back through. And you have important one here, like the 10-round magazine ban. You also have the training requirements for concealed carry. I mean, that's a huge one.
They're almost making it impossible for you to accomplish that.
What other constitutional right do we have that you're required to receive training for? I mean,
good point.
Do you have to get trained before you vote? Do you require training before the police need a warrant to search your home? No.
The biggest thing that hits me there is like they want to make it the mandates for you to get certified for concealed carry so strict and almost unachievable. They're basically stripping you of your right to protect yourself.
And once they put that in, I envision them ratcheting things down. I noticed that when I read the bill recently, there's a qualification component. What's going to stop the government from saying, okay, you need to score a 90 2 years ago, but we're up to 95 now, and if you can't make that, you can't. Right, correct.
Very concerning stuff. So, as Attorney General, how do you put a stop to this type of stuff continuing to rear its ugly head? Let's say we still have a House and a Senate controlled by the Democrats, and you come in as an independent, and you're now sitting in the AG's office. How do you impact this?
So, as the Attorney General, it's an independent office in the executive branch. I consider all of these laws, various components of them, to be unconstitutional, and so I would do everything in my power to ensure that they don't pass in the first place, or if they do pass, to have them thrown out.
And so, basically, you're using that position of office to abide by the Constitution and ensure that anything that comes through doesn't go against person's constitutional rights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got it. Okay,
wow,
makes sense.
Like tough, right?
Huh?
I mean,
right there.
You take an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States. And
crazy. Guy's crazy. Look at him, right? I love it. Okay, we have a ton more info to get through with both of you. Yes, I was waiting to make sure we had everybody back tuned in. Everybody's like, did anybody win? Did anybody win? Yes. Kevin Thompson, winner of first prize giveaway this evening. You got a Lamiglas hat and a Lamiglas t-shirt. Message us on Fish Hunt Northwest Facebook page, messenger, name, address, and phone number so we can make sure we get those items shipped to you within the next few days. Kevin Thompson, hopefully you're still tuned in, and you win the first prize giveaway. Next giveaway will be this commercial break we take. We are going to give a hat and a hoodie. Hat and a hoodie to the random draw that we'll do at this commercial break. We're going to jump out for a break. We come back. Hey, Barnum, we got time tonight. We're going to talk a little plug fishing for steelhead.
Awesome.
When this water finally drops down, when we all get back from Portland and the rain finally stops and the rivers get into shape.
Think so, huh?
Well, optimistic. Okay? It's time to chase wild steelhead on some of our favorite rivers. Hopefully they remain open. And no better way to do that in some regards on this dropping water than utilizing plugs. We're going to break down some tried true techniques and things you should know about plug fishing, whether you've been doing it for a long time or if you're just going to try to give it a go this winter towards the latter part of the season. Hopefully I can give you some insight on your presentation and how to make you more successful in pulling plugs for steelhead. So we'll do that. We'll pick a winner for the next giveaway, and we'll be in the Bay Lab for this week's how-to pulling plugs for steelhead when we come back right here on FHM.
In safety while fishing offshore. Defines boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defines boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defines Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defines boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
It's the Pacific Northwest Sportsmen's and Sport Fishing Boat Show presented by Loophole, February 5th through 9th at the Portland Expo Center. You'll find the biggest selection and best deals on sport fishing boats in Oregon. Come shop, compare, and buy from local dealers who are motivated to sell. Learn from experts at hundreds of free seminars and demonstrations. Catch fishing action at the Walleye Demo Tank and free fishing for kids at the Baxter Auto Parts Trout Pond. For everything outdoors, start here to get there. The Pacific Northwest Sportsman's Show in Portland.
Sterl Inc. is located in Puyallup, Washington. Sterl Inc. is your neighborhood quality one-stop shop for your team, outdoor clothing, screen printing, and embroidery. At Sterl Inc., we are passionate about the outdoors and our environment. We only use environmentally safe products. If you fish, chances are you're getting a discount. At Sterl Inc., we take pride in working with the customer to get you exactly what you need. Let us help you with all your screen printing and embroidery needs at sterlinkprints.com.
Hey, welcome to Northwest. We are here in the Bait Lab for this week's how-to. We're going to talk a little bit of plug pulling for steelhead. I want to remind everybody that our Bait Lab segments are presented by Max Lure. Max Lure jumped on board with us. We advocate that you check out what they have going on either online or in your local stores. They produce a lot of good stuff, and as we roll into spring, get into a lot of that kokanee and trout fishing. Max Lure plays an important role in what we do. Okay, plug fishing for steelhead, pulling plugs, man. It is something that if you haven't done it, once you do it, you'll understand what you've been missing. It is a great alternative to fishing some type of an artificial out in front of big aggressive steelhead that flat out gets it done. Let's talk a little bit about rod and reel combination, how you get set up. Most of your plug rods you find, manufacturers are pretty consistent, different variables in what they make or build the rods actually out of, but you want to look for something in that 7.5. I like a 7.5 one-piece plug rod. It should indicate on the brand or the type of rod it is that it is for plug fishing for salmon or steelhead. Now, most of your steelhead rods, really nice to have it in the range of that 6 to 15 pound, 7.5 foot one piece. We'll get it done all day long. If you predominantly are fishing later in the season, want a little something beefier, you'll find those rods in that 8 to 20. But I can assure you these nice little 6 to 15 pound rods get it done time and time again. I like to utilize reels with some type of line counter, whether it's digital or the old mechanicals work great because they don't need batteries to be replaced, so that is a bonus. Line counters are important because as you put out your plugs, either out the back of your sled as you're backing downriver, out the front of your drift boat as you're slowly moving downriver. You want to build that wall of resistance, whether it's 2 or 3 rods out the front or back of your boat, and you're running those plugs basically in the same distance or at an angle to kind of push those fish back against a wall or into a corner, or basically you're just trying to build that front that's going to move them downriver as you start backing them up. If they're not going to strike early, chances are as you get them back to that tail end of that run, down in that tail out section or back into a corner, they're going to have to do the decide whether they're going to fight or flight. And typically you're going to make them mad enough that they're actually going to attack that plug. So line counters are important to make sure distance from your boat is equal. And depending on water clarity and depth is how far I'll put those plugs out. Sometimes summer run fishing, gin clear, low water, and trying not to push the fish out of there with the boat before the plugs get there. I'll put them buggers out 45, 50 feet. Not afraid to do that at all. Now, some folks don't like to use braided line for plug pulling. They think that it has too much buoyancy and it doesn't allow your plugs to dig down as deep as they should go. To be honest, when it comes to steelhead fishing, most of the time you're fishing 4, 6, 8, maybe 10-foot depth of water. Getting your plugs down to that depth into their face is not a problem. You use braid because it's so thin in diameter, it has a lot less drag than your monofilaments of heavier strength. So 40 or 50 pound braid on your level line rig do a real nice job. Put on a top shot, 6 to 8 feet of monofilament, cinch knot it to your braid. Don't use a swivel, just tie it direct so you got that nice top shot. As we get into this time of year and start chasing those bigger wild fish, 20, 25 pound top shot, nothing wrong with 25 pound ultra green, durable, abrasion resistant. Gonna back those plugs right into around that structure on some of those coastal streams. Gonna give you the advantage of trying to put some pressure to those fish to get them out of there. So don't go light on your top shot. Make sure it's good and girthy. And then just put a snap dual lock or something on the end of that so you can swap out plugs on a frequent basis. So lots of different plugs to choose from when you're fishing for steelhead. There's a lot of tried and true favorites on here, and it kind of progresses for me. Back in the day, the Hot Shots 30s and the old 35s, the bigger plug with that nice big bill on there, digs really well in the water, gets down, rattles a lot. Lots of erratic action on these 35s. The blue and green Pirates for years in 3 to 6 feet of visibility or gin clear. These things work fantastic. They've been tried and true. The smaller size 30s, any of these colors with these kind of metallics and multicolors, or there's dark bills. Contrast, these low hot shots just have a great action to them that really stimulate the steelhead to bite, so you can't go wrong there. Moving over here, the Tad Poly. So the Tad Poly is one that's been around for a long time, but they actually don't make it anymore. You can't find them basically as far as you can find them at stores, but a lot of stores have ran out and/or no longer carry them. So a lot of times you'll find them online. You can find some online stores that may carry them. You'll find that they come in a variety of colors. The metallics work well. The multicolors work well. Some of these have been doctored up with darker bills, and that contrast again works very well. The other thing about Tad Polys is that they're castable. Okay, these little plugs actually, when you want to cast and retrieve for steelhead, believe it or not, it does work. The Tad Polys work very well for that. They don't catch a lot of wind, and they got that heavier butt on them that allows them to get out away from you and actually cast pretty far. So something to think about if you have water that's conducive to cast and retrieve. It does work, and it's a great way to ambush fish. Tad Poly's been around a long time. Most cases I like to swap out the hook to a single sidewash off the back, put onto a lock ring, and also a barrel swivel is going to keep it with better hook penetration and not come out sometimes as your treble would twist out. Moving over here, we have the I got the K9 Extreme. Okay, the K9 Extreme. Let me see here. Nope, that's my Tad Poly. I got the K9 Extreme and also the U20 Flatfish, Warden's U20 Flatfish by YBC. Multiple colors here. fantastic plug to use. Again, I like to swap out the trebles to these single side wash. Typically, I'll put 2 hooks on those. They seem to perform pretty well. It's basically a 2/0 side wash onto a barrel swivel. And again, with the swivels on your hooks and those fish start spinning, rolling around, you're not so apt to pull them trebles out of there when you have that single side wash in there. They get good hook penetration. These plugs perform very well, even with the dual hooks on them. Now, the one thing about all these plugs that I've talked about, they have a range in which they like to operate. They have a minimal amount of flow that they still perform pretty well, and they have a maximum amount of flow that if you exceed that, they tend to come up to surface and flip over and won't stay running true. So they have what I refer to as a little bit narrower of a range of water that they are performing well in, okay? Now let's get to what I consider to be more of my favorite, and that would be the mag lips from YBC. Lots of different colors to choose from on your mag lips, okay? The thing about them is, you know, the 3.5 and the 3.0 are fantastic for steelhead. They come in a wide range of colors. The best thing about these plugs, if you are new to plug fishing, haven't spent a lot of time pulling plugs out of your drift boat and or even out of the back of your sled, is that they are so forgiving in the types of waters that they will run. As I mentioned before, these plugs all work great, and they've been around a long time, but they have certain parameters they like to run in. This mag lip will run in extremely slow water, and it will run into some of the fastest water that you're willing to row. If the mag lip's not staying down in the line that you're trying to pull, chances are you're probably fishing too fast to water. So that's a great gauge to tell you that, you know, maybe I am putting these in too fast to water if the mag lip won't even run. Also, if you're rowing in water trying to back down slow and you're having a heck of a time trying to keep the boat moving at a slower pace, you're definitely in too fast to water. So for a starter kit, even though it's been a phenomenal plug, proven, been around for a while now in a versatile of colors, you put a mag lip on right out of the box, there's no tuning necessary, you clip that thing on, it's going to perform. I do like to switch out the treble hooks. They come with dual treble hooks. I'll run a single 2/0 or 3/0 off the back, depending on if it's a 3.5 or a 3.0. I put that again on a lock ring with a barrel swivel, and I've landed a ton of fish on mag lips with a single 2/0 hook out the back. Gets it done. The fish can grab a hold of it. Good hook penetration on the takedown. It turns in the mouth of the fish because it does have the swivel on there. Typically buries in really well and stays hold even on barbless hooks. Now let's talk about color progression. Up here I got a lot of the brighter colors, okay? Some of these bright, vibrant colors with UVs and whatnot are ideal and what I go to for dirty water. Coming off this high water in the next few weeks, we're gonna have some limited visibility, and we wanna have these bright colors to really grab their attention. Also, these things make a little noise. They do rattle, and they have attractability with color. They have attractability with erratic action. They have attractability with noise. And in high dirty water or off-color water as we get rivers to drop, I'm going with the fluorescence, okay? That's my first choice. As we get to water that starts to get into that 3 to 6 feet of visibility, nice green to it, that steely green as we call it, I start fishing some more of the metallics, even with this herringbone or these tiger stripes in there. And all of these metallics in that 3 to 6 foot of water visibility work fantastic. Even like this herringbone with that, you know, that blue bill and this nice chartreuse tail end on it, got the chrome on there. All of these grab light, all of these reflect light. Again, it's a mag lip. The erratic action, the color contrast is ideal. For some of these, they just flat get it done in that 3 to 6 feet of visibility. Now, when we get to really clear low conditions, we might get there this year, although the winter has been so warm, we haven't had a lot of those cold temps that really drop our water down once we get past all this rain. To get those low gin clear conditions or similar to summer run fishing, that's when I go to the full-on metallics, okay? Light refraction is really good with these types of colors, your golds and your greens. Don't discount the opportunity to also fish the 3.0s in this Dr. Death color scheme here. Metallic, good light refraction, got that dark bill. Again, we got color contrast, and we have a smaller presentation when the water gets really low and clear. So that 3.0 is an ideal size plug to be running for steelhead, even for big wild fish as we get later in season, you get those clear conditions. So you have a lot of options. The mag lip gets it done for me time and time again because it's such a versatile plug. And again, it runs in all those different conditions. You can have real soft water on the right side of your boat, really aggressive water on the left side going left shore down, and I can have mag lips out and they're both working equally as well, even though the water can be a varying of a couple miles per hour in difference. Before we go, let's talk a little bit about boat position and how we actually pull plugs. Pulling plugs out in front of your drift boat, for example, is an extension of your drift boat, okay? You're gonna put those rods in the rod holders. Don't allow folks to hold on to them because we don't set the hook on plug fishing. We allow the fish to take it down, bury the rod tip towards the water for a couple good tugs before we ever take the rod out of the rod holder. That fish is pinned with good hooks. It's not going anywhere, so there's no need to set the hook. We deploy those plugs out in front of the boat, 35, 40 feet, depending on water clarity, 45 feet. Put them in the rod holder, let the plugs dive down, do their thing. If I have my wall set up out in front of the boat and I'm backing it down a long stretch and the river kind of takes a turn, it's up to me to navigate those plugs into where I need them to go. I simply do that on how I'm rowing, okay? Now, if you haven't rowed a drift boat a lot and you're putting plugs out, there's nothing wrong with starting out on anchor. Drop the pick, put the plugs out, watch how the rod tips react. Get to understand the cadence on the rod tips. You'll know if you get leaves or debris or something on there once you understand the exact cadence that those plugs are putting out, because one of them will change. So you need to reel that in, check, clear the debris off, put it back out. As you become familiar with how those plugs react, go ahead, pull your anchor, slowly start rowing backwards. Now, if you're in soft water, the biggest problem or mistake early on that you'll make as one who's trying to pull plugs is that you will over row and actually back your boat upriver. So now the plugs are diving really hard, lots of erratic action on the rod tips, and you think you're doing it right. However, if you look at your shoreline, pick a landmark, tree stump, rock, something, identify where that is, and as you're rowing, if you're either sitting there at that same mark for the last 5 minutes, you're not backing your plugs downriver. If you look downriver and that rock is somewhere down below you, you've actually backed your plugs back upriver. So you need to pick your landmark, back row on your boat to slowly allow it to go downriver and keep it into a certain pace that's just kind of constantly moving the boat on down, which is, in effect, moving the plugs on down, okay? As you move the plugs down, you have water that you want to cover, okay? Backing the plugs down straight back and forth is covering a percentage of water. By ferry angle the back of your boat back and forth, if I take the back of my boat to the left, it's going to swing my plugs over to the right. And then I can bring the boat over here and catch up with them. And then I can bring the boat to the right, swing the plugs over to the left, and I can then let the boat drift over. I can cover water by moving the back of my boat and swinging the front of the boat. Again, the plugs are an extension of your drift boat. So however you're guiding those, and you get into a corner and you have a bunch of structure, and you want to back those plugs into that corner and kind of take it at a 45 around the corner. You as the oarsman, it's up to you on how you present those plugs into a corner and maneuver them downriver. And it only, with time and practice, you're going to be able to do that. Just look for certain things as you develop your skills. Don't over row, pick your landmarks, don't back your boat upriver. Sit on anchor if you need to for a while to understand how plugs work, and get in sync with the action of your rod tips. All those finer points as you develop your skills, fishing plugs is going to work fantastic. And don't be afraid to put scent on them, okay? Some good Mike's UV scent, anise, krill, shrimp, sand shrimp, all the shrimp lines that you can get. Put those right on the base of your plug and give it a little scent so that you have some downriver to entice them. Yeah, steelhead predominantly react based on color contrast, and they're a reactionary bite, but don't be afraid to use scent because it will aid you in finding success when pulling plugs. So hopefully that covered enough for you. Kind of the A to Z on plug fishing, whether you've been doing it for a while or just starting out. You got any questions, hit us up on Facebook, and we can certainly answer those, whether it's talking, again, specifics about rods, reels, line weight, size of line, size of rod, all that. And, again, some differences on these plugs that we have out here tonight to kind of give you a perspective on what you can and can't do with plugs. I think if you get out and give it a try through the rest of this season, once water drops, you're going to be very successful. Winner, Neil Quigley for the drawing. got yourself a hoodie and a Lamiglas hat brought to you by Lamiglas this evening. Neil Quigley, you need to message us on Facebook. Your name obviously will be there, I hope, and your phone number and address so we can ship that stuff off to you in the next couple days. Okay, I'm going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. We have a couple fishing rods that we are going to give away in this next 20 to 30 minutes. And we are back with Tom Posey talking about some events or meetings he has coming up back in Washington, D.C. to talk about some of the things going on with our Northwest Fisheries right here at home. So don't go anywhere. Take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in studio with Tom Posey when we come back right here on FHN.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima Boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
Sterl Inc. is located in Puyallup, Washington.
Sterl Inc. is your neighborhood quality one-stop shop for your team, outdoor clothing, screen printing, and embroidery. At Sterl Inc., we are passionate about the outdoors and our environment. We only use environmentally safe products. If you fish, chances are you're getting a discount. At Sterl Inc., we take pride in working with the customer to get you exactly what you need.
Let us help you with all your screen printing and embroidery needs at sterlinkprints.com.
It's the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show presented by Leupold, February 5th through 9th in Portland. Over 900 exhibits of fishing and hunting gear, archery, wildlife art, lodges, resorts, guides, and outfitters. Free fishing for kids at the Baxter Auto Parts Trout Pond. Enter your trophy in the Head and Horns competition. See Brett Stoffel's Outdoor Survival Clinic presented by your local Toyota dealers. And join us for Meat Eater Sunday with Steve Brunella and the cast from the hit Netflix show. For everything outdoors, start here to get there. The Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland.
All right, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Handing stuff out, Barnum. Neil Quigley won the last one. Kevin Thompson won the first one. So the hats and hoodies and shirts are gone. We have 2 fishing rods we're going to be giving away at the next couple breaks as we close out the show. So save the best for the last, right?
Right.
With that, Tom Posey. We talked a whole bunch about fishing rods and whatnot. First segment with you.
Yep.
You have the opportunity, unfortunately it's during the Sportsman Show.
Yes.
So there's the downside. The upside, which there's definitely an upside, you're going back to Washington, D.C.
Right. Yep, I am. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and you had called me and said, hey, I got to go do this thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, I got to go talk to senators and representatives about fishing. So, I mean, who called you and what did they tell you?
Well, the American Sports Fishing Association that we've been involved with for probably 60 years has a representative now for the Northwest and the West Coast. First time
ASA,
ever.
right?
ASA.
Okay.
And so they asked me to come out for some meetings on the 5th and the 6th in Washington, D.C. and talk about the salmon steelhead runs and what we can do to help resolve them. They're going to be focused on some dams up in the Snake River. Yeah. And then we'll also talk about, you know, the sea lions and the seals and bird predation and the lack of hatchery activity. try to find a balance somewhere. I think you had mentioned, you gave me an example of what happened when there was some management of sea lions up in the Willamette.
Yeah.
It was 877 and 17 that crossed, and then some animals were removed, and it went up to what, 3,000 or?
So it was
over
over the course of about 18 months.
Okay.
They ended up removing upwards of 33.
Yeah.
Now I guess it's even up to 37 or 38. But at
right.
the time it was 33 sea lions, and
Right.
they went from 2017 822 adult
Right.
wild steelhead
Right.
that made it up above Willamette Falls in Oregon City. To in 2019, the comparable with the 33 sea lions removed was 3,202.
Right.
Significant increase.
Yep.
Just a snapshot of, hey, here is a positive uptick based on a little bit of intervention.
Right. And we're finding, in the Northwest, if we include Northern California, up through British Columbia, Alaska, to the Great Lakes, up into New York to the Salmon River, everybody's got that baseline of issues that are very similar.
Right.
And so, it's nice for everybody to communicate. We should also communicate that, but, hopefully we can make a difference. Right?
So ASA contacted you. I'm assuming they're inviting other business owners in the Northwest, other companies?
Maximum Line is going out, the gentleman that handles them for the U.S.
Okay.
And I'm not sure who else is
Yeah.
coming out there, but we got a lot of meetings for 2 days, back to back to back to back. And
Interesting.
I watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the 1939
Training film?
with
Training
Stewart.
film.
So I'm getting a new suit, and I'm ready. I'm going to shine my shoes,
boy.
and I'm going to be ready.
I
for
like
this,
it.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what those those discussions will involve, and what ultimately their goal is. I think they probably want to understand from a long-standing business in the Northwest that sustains itself on strong, robust fisheries.
Yeah.
What's this done to your bottom line? What kind of impact is this having on a business like yours, or Yakima Bait's been around since the late 30s, early 40s.
Sure.
Pautzke's has been around since 34 or 39, I forget. But some of these companies have been long-standing staples in the Northwest that have found a way to make it, albeit diversifying in what you're producing.
Right.
And not 100% all in one basket based on what founded the company, predominantly salmon and steelhead, right?
Right. And it's kind of interesting because 1949, the first blanks that rolled out were surf blanks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, for saltwater. And a lot of those got shipped to the UK to be used for carp and things, and also to the Northeast.
Crazy.
And then it kind of rolled in, obviously, into the steelhead thing with the Boeing engineers. And we call ourselves the Library of Congress because we've made a fishing rod for every fishery in the world, it seems like. But one of the things I did want to talk about is the excise tax that Lamiglas and other manufacturers have paid in the U.S.
Oh.
Thousands and thousands of dollars each year that we really don't have any control over. We write a check once a quarter, goes to the feds, and we're supposed to see it come back for improvement in fisheries and boat ramps and all these things, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing. We have to do that, but maybe we'll learn something about that as well. But just to let everybody know that all the manufacturers in the U.S., we pay an excise tax of up to $10 a rod, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah. A lot of money.
A lot of money.
I can name a handful of rivers we still need boat ramps at.
Yeah, I kind of go to them and I wonder, well, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to... so I wish that we all had some say-so and direction of where that could go, because we could help out quite a bit. But anyway, that, it'll be interesting. So, looking forward to it.
Well, hopefully they listen. Hopefully you guys got some good insight. I'm curious where a majority of these senators and representatives will be from or comprise from, predominantly Northwest or throughout the nation, just based on what you said. I think all regions are experiencing issues.
I think the bulk of them is going to be from the Northwest, and then we've got a few meetings with some outside interested parties and hopefully some influencers, right? And of course, I did talk to you and Jack and Brandon and Jody Mathers and others to get some ideas, and met with the new group that's been around for 6 months. You got their sticker on the other side there.
Hatchery Wild
came in. Ron came in. And so tried to get as much information together as I could. And what I'd really like to see too is there's so many great people like you guys and that are very knowledgeable in fisheries. It'd be great you had a seat at the table
Mm-hmm.
and maybe could have, you know, a little bit more input as well. So I'll be taking notes, and hopefully we make something happen and get it to the people like
Right.
yourself and the guys that have done this, because it's now about the kids and the grandkids and the
Yeah.
legacy we're trying to leave for them. Do you want them on a cell phone? Do you want them in an area of a bad habit that they shouldn't be in, or do
Sure.
you want them catching a fish?
Yeah.
We want everybody to catch a fish. You know, we're kind of on the other side of the golf course in the back nine in some ways,
Right,
and we
right.
want the kids to be able to. Everybody needs
Tee
to catch
off.
a fish.
Right.
Yep. There you go.
Kind of curious, maybe you can interject into conversations like, you know, we have a lot of research and study that goes on in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
We understand we have a really strong predation issue relative
Yes.
to sea lions.
Yes.
The local agencies, at least in Washington State, WDFW, spent 11 years, I told you, studying bird predation on the
Right.
Columbia River from the Snake River to the estuary waters to understand the amount of bird predation. And why does it take 11 years to understand we have 70% of our out-migrating steelhead smolt being consumed by bird predation? Okay, we get it, so now what's the course of action?
Yeah.
Does it take federal mandates? Does it take federal monies to come in and remove a bunch of these birds, or control the population, or do something, intervene? Enough with the research, right?
have
It's
to
like,
manage them.
it's time to take action.
You have to
the,
manage them.
the seal, predominantly California sea lion
Right.
deal, they'll go after the Columbia River first and foremost. Eventually we're going to work on Puget Sound, but Columbia River is got a lot of stake in the game, simply because it you know, basically is serving such a large area, both Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. We're all connected in that regard.
Yep.
And the predation issue with the sea lions affects all three states.
Yep.
Imagine the amount of commerce and you know, economy and just economic downtrend has happened because of the sea lion overpopulation. The feds need to make the call on this one.
Yeah.
They're ultimately in charge with the Marine Mammal Protection Act instituted in 1972. Unless we get a federal mandate rollback out of NOAA and other folks that have their hand in that. So guys like you going back to D.C. to sit down with these senators, go, what's it going to take to start taking action on this stuff? I think is where, quite frankly, where it has to come. Enough discussion. It's like, you as a business owner in the Northwest, you got, hey, I get it. We've recognized the problem. Now what are you guys going to do about it?
Yeah.
I think that's the hard line.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well,
We're trying hard. Want to bring it back to the guys that matter. Love to get the people like yourself, as mentioned earlier, that are in the know and get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
We need it.
Have the conversation.
So, I'm going back there. I went into the company, and I know you mentioned the show. It's a big, important show for us, and I haven't missed it in a number of years, but they all said to a person, and even you and others said, yeah, you got to go.
Yeah.
So I'm getting on the plane, I'm putting my suit on, and I'm shining my shoes. We're going to go to Washington.
Wear your mask.
Plane.
Put that mask on, order a Corona beer, and take it on head first, right? Okay.
Just bring your
awesome.
wine.
All right, we're going to jump out for a quick break. Thank you for that, by the way. That's fantastic, and I can't wait to reconnect with you when you get back, kind of see what this whole thing was about.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully come back with some good information.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're jumping out for a break. Going to randomly select first fishing rod going out the door. So you better be on here, and you better have typed in, I want to win. If you haven't typed in, I want to win, you do not qualify. This system of picking winners is working swimmingly. Barnum, excellent idea you came up with there. So we'll jump out for a quick break. We'll pick the winner. We're going to close out the show with Brett Rogers. We got some really interesting law discussion to have. As Attorney General, some of his vision on how to make change, starting with the cesspool we refer to as Seattle. How's that sound? Okay, I should probably not say some stuff like that, but I don't really care. All right, jump out for a quick break. We come back, more with Brett Rogers, more with Tom Posey, and we're giving away a Lamiglas rod right after this break, right here on FHN.
Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Welcome back as we close out the show here. Barnum, a few more things to talk about. A lot of folks hanging on the line here for these rod giveaways. And hey, first and foremost, Infinity Series, Tom, 6 to 12, 10.5 foot. I want this rod.
That's a good one.
That's a great Steelhead float rod right there, man.
I want to win.
Yeah, I want to win. Yeah, I want to win. Well, that rod, this particular rod, I'm not going to make people wait through the end of this. We'll go to Brian Dildine. Just a fun name to say. Brian Dildine, you just won yourself an Infinity 10.5 foot rod, 6 to 12. Hope you're a float fisherman for Steelhead, because that's going to be a fantastic rod. We'll get all your information. Message us here on Fish Over Northwest on our Facebook page, on Messenger, and give us your name, address, phone number, and we'll get that shipped out to you. So with that, oh, he just realized he won. Woot. Perfect. Brett, running for AG, independent, running for AG. Very happy for you. Hope your campaign continues to go on the upswing. Sounds like it's gaining some momentum. You know, we covered Second Amendment and how critical that is for most of us in Washington to get that turn to head the right direction. But there is a lot of other things in this state that need to be cleaned up, literally cleaned up. The homeless epidemic, which is secondary to nothing more than drug abuse and mental illness. It's not even fun to drive to Seattle anymore.
No.
Just the amount of filth and debris and the abandoned RVs and folks living in those conditions of squalor, emptying their gray water right on the street side, going down into the curbs, into the gutters, flowing into our waterways. All of this is polluting our waterways, affecting our fish, affecting our aquatic life. It's already been documented that, you know, Puget Sound has some of the most drug-ridden fisheries and fish out there, and marine life out there. They are inundated day in and day out, not just from people flushing stuff down the toilets, but a lot of this is now building up, washing into our rivers, washing into our waterways from street level. How does AG change that current MO of just allowing this stuff to build up and be present on the streets? Nobody's bringing in a record to hook this stuff up, drag it away. Nobody's held accountable. Nobody's cleaning it up.
Well, just real quick, there's an article in Seattle Times a few months back that it was estimated that 1 million gallons of raw sewage per year is being dumped on the streets of Seattle and Metro King County. So all that is flowing into the ponds. If you like clean water, if you like to fish, that's affecting you.
Here's what really gets to the core of it for me and Barnum. The current regime that's been in office for so long touts the Green Deal. We're all about conservation. We're all about cleaning up the water. Clean water is a priority. We're all about conservation, planting trees, getting control on this stuff. And right there, it's right under their nose, literally, in the city. 1 million gallons of waste just getting washed into Puget Sound, essentially, is where it all ends up.
Where's Jay Inslee and Bob Ferguson on that?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a darn thing.
Where's the champion of the environment?
The champion of the environment.
The champion of the environment. He ran a presidential candidate as the champion of the environment.
Yeah.
And it's right there in his backyard, in his front yard, in his side yard. I mean, it's all around him, and he doesn't care.
Yep.
You know, so what's, from the AG's office perspective, what do you do? How do we clean it up?
So the vast majority of criminal prosecutions is done at the county level and city level. So the Attorney General's office does not have a direct hand in most of that. However, there's a few situations where the AG's office can get involved. If the governor requests it, if the local prosecutors request assistance, or in matters that affect the rights or affects the state of Washington.
Right.
The issues that are going on in Seattle and King County right now have turned into a regional and a statewide problem. Residents of Seattle and King County are also state of Washington residents. So I propose a kind of a carrot and stick approach, offer of assistance, whether that be grants, maybe some additional prosecutor help, short term, just to knock down the backlog of criminal cases. The other side of that is the stick. If they don't want that assistance and want to keep going the way things are going, we offer that assistance to the surrounding communities to at least contain the bad to the smallest area possible, but then also get involved with the matters that affect the state. Department of Ecology, start saying, City of Seattle, you need to pay attention to this and clean this up, or we're gonna help you.
We're to fine you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have state agencies that are in charge of making that happen, and if you refuse to follow what they're now intervening to say, they can start slapping fines against you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What about, working through the AG's office to get some of these laws back on the books, allow police to police? So now I have the right as an officer to arrest somebody in possession of heroin. I'm no longer abiding by this so-called, moratorium on arresting persons with 3 grams or less. If you are in possession, you're going to go to jail. And I don't need my officers on the streets to do all that, simply to have them go in, no prosecution, nothing in place, just roll them through, paperwork, back out. And I'm arresting these people 15, 16, 18 times with no recourse. How do we stop that behavior? I mean, how do you make it stick, and how do you get the prosecutors to take these and follow through with it, put these people where they need to be for a while?
It might come down to publicly shaming them. Like I said, if Dan Satterberg, prosecutor for King County, does not want to start prosecuting these crimes, like I said, we offer assistance to Snohomish County, Pierce County, kind of tighten the noose, if you will, and then I think it would become very apparent very quickly that other communities, things are getting better.
Sure.
And they're not getting better in Seattle, King County. We would have a reason, a very visible reason why that's not happening.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, again, you've been on both sides of the coin, basically, with, out on the streets enforcing and have worked in the prosecution on certain elements in your career.
Just real quick, I never actually acted as a prosecutor. I just want to make that
okay.
Yeah.
But you do understand the law.
I do.
Which is more than can be said for a few other folks that are currently running. So I like your agenda. I like your platform. I like what you stand for. I really like the fact that you are going to take a stand on Second Amendment rights, and working hard to keep that in the area it should be, and of course, work towards cleaning this state up. Because
right, and coming from the police background and understanding that police need to be able to police. It's hard to contain what's going on in the streets if you don't have a police presence.
Right.
So, and that's what we're seeing now, and that was one of the main complaints I seen out of the shooting there a couple weeks ago in Seattle, was there has been no police presence. And then all of a sudden we have a violent crime, a mass shooting, and then all of a sudden, boom, now we're surrounded by cops. Now they're everywhere. Well, that's a little too late. So we have to have that police presence on the street, and we have to support our officers. And we got to have leadership that supports our officers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at another fishing rod here, Tom. What is this? Oh, this is a SI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an 8 to 12.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah.
Our top of the line.
That is a very nice steelhead rod, to say the least. So, nice SI. We told you we'd be giving an SI away tonight, if I don't break it first. First of all, thank both of you for coming in tonight. We got a little late start, but we're getting out here almost on time. So, appreciate your patience, and we'll make sure we get your goodie bag before you hit the road.
Yes, I'll need that, my snack on the way home.
If I don't, I will hear it from Sherry. So, final winner tonight, based on all of you that chimed in and all those that want to win. Even Josh put in he wanted to win. Right. Nice to one, isn't it, Josh? Had a kid.
You have two hands, Josh.
Yes. Alan Workman. Alan Workman, you win the SI rod tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you'll continue to join us each and every week. Again, I want to thank both you gentlemen for coming in. I think the topics were spot on and much needed. Of course, we are a weekly fishing and hunting show, but we like to tackle these other topics, right, Barnum? Kind of get it out there to make people aware of what's going on throughout the Pacific Northwest and beyond. And really appreciate all the messages tonight. Lots of people jumping on board here, Barnum. This is getting kind of exciting. So, okay, quick reminder. We will be down in Portland next week, Wednesday through Sunday, February 5th through the 9th. Come see us in our booth. We'll have tons of new swag we're selling. Really nice hoodies, quarter zips. Gosh, what else? We got tons of t-shirts, both with our hunting print and our fishing print. Hats, beanies, beer pints, wine glasses. Shing's selling it all. We got tons of stuff. We'll be there walking around, meeting and greeting folks. And, of course, show up for the live event Thursday evening, 7 p.m., location to be determined as we get there and get set up. But we'll be interactive on Facebook and social media to let you guys know exactly where we are, what time we're kicking stuff off. Going to have a bunch of giveaways again. WFO is going to join us with lots of worms and soft plastics. Lamiglas is also providing a couple more rods. Thank you, Tom, for that. And we'll have some other goodies to give away, and some of our own swag. We'll be very happy to get into the hands of you folks. So,
right. And Portland's a great show. Even if you went to Puyallup, don't skip out on Portland. I mean, it's a bigger show than Puyallup, and it's a great show.
Whole different environment, tons of people, lots of outfitters, tons of gear, lots of great deals, and we're going to have a great time down there all week. With that, we're going to bust out of here. Make sure you stay relevant. Stay in tune with us throughout the week on Facebook. Post your questions. Hopefully we can come up with answers for you. Also engage in our activity. I'm sure we'll come up with more stories to put out there to generate the dialogue, which helps me and Barnum put show content together each and every week for you guys. We'll continue the educational process each and every week, and we'll see you guys in Portland next Thursday. Have a great week, and once the water drops, get out and fish. Take care.
Good job, guys.